USA's reciprocal tariffs. Now, this is something which is the crucial and important thing that can change our economy to a great extent, either positively or negatively. Now, is India prepared for this particular trade war sort of thing which is happening between US and India in terms of the tariff war? So, we are here to understand the impact of these US reciprocal tariffs. So, what is a reciprocal tariff? How is it going to impact the trade of India? And is India prepared for this particular issue? Will it impact our economy? And how actually India can deal with this issue in a positive way so that actually it can be a beneficial factor for the economy instead of being a negative factor. So let's take a look at these points one by one. Now, first of all, we know that the US President Donald Trump has announced the reciprocal tariffs from 2nd of April 2025. This is going to be imposed on India on the date of 2nd April in terms of what he calls as the tit for tat approach in terms of tariff. Let us first understand this terminology of reciprocal tariffs. So, if we talk about India and USA as the two countries, when India is actually having some kind of import, that means USA is selling goods to India, India will levy some tariff. So, tariff you can take in simple words, it's like a tax. So, let's suppose this is 10% of the goods. So, if I am selling 100 rupees worth of goods, how much will be the tariff? It will be 10 rupees. So, if India buys goods from USA, imports goods from USA of 100 rupees, it will actually impose duties on these goods to make these things more, you can say it's unattractive to the Indian market and costly to the Indian market by imposing a tariff. Now, going to the next part, let's suppose we are talking about now India is exporting something to USA. In this, we can understand what is reciprocal tariff. So India had levied a tariff when it imported goods from USA. Now, if India sells goods to USA is also going to impose a reciprocal tariff. So if India sells a 100 rupee product to USA is going to add some tax of it when the goods are coming into their country. So basically, let's assume that till date, USA was on a milder approach and they levied a lot lower tariffs on Indian goods. So if India, even if India imposed a higher tariff, USA imposed a lower tariff in most cases. So this tariff, let's suppose USA had imposed only 6%. What is the claim of Donald Trump is that if India is imposing 10% tariff on us and we are imposing 6% tariff on their goods, that means it is injustice. We should also impose the same or at least near to those tariffs so that we have a good strategy for US markets. So USA should not suffer because of this beneficial approach that they're giving to many countries. So already there are countries like China on which he has started off with this reciprocal tariff regime. So he has started imposing the reciprocal tariffs on Chinese goods, let's say, even in certain European countries. Now comes the turn of India from 2nd April 2025. Now, what our economy as such is going to be shaken because of this reciprocal tariffs, and should India worry? So this is the question we should be asking at this particular stage, because already we are not in a very great position in terms of economy because of a number of factors, and imposition of this reciprocal tariff could weaken our economy to a great extent if proper and correct measures and timely measures are not taken by the government. So since India is already charging the US with high tariffs now, will these excess tariffs that USA is going to charge on Indian products cost India? Yes, definitely, because there is always a wide tariff gap, as I told you. So the gap is so large that estimates are nearly of $7 billion of loss. And this loss is not just going to take place one time, but it will be a yearly loss. And if at all there is a trade growth, this loss will also grow. So most affected industries are there because of this particular trade war. These are chemicals, then automobiles, pharmaceutical companies, then food products. So you can see the major of exports that India does is in this categorization. So these industries who are exporting goods to the USA will be impacted to a great extent. Their goods probably may not be competitive because of the taxes that Trump is going to levy on these. So if the product is not competitive, USA may choose other markets or products from other markets in terms of their purchases, which means we as Indian people or as Indian manufacturing companies will have lowering of trade or lowering of sales. So obviously, if sales are low, profits will decline, there will be a big impact on the economy. The White House has just published a sheet which shows that why they feel that Indian tariffs are unfair. If you see just one example, they had a most favored nations tariff on Indian farm goods, agricultural goods as such, where they used to impose only 5% tariff on Indian imported goods. Whereas we in India imposed nearly 39% of tariff on the same goods. Now, just imagine in such a situation, if tomorrow USA decides that no, our farm products, that is the Indian farm products, when they come to the US market, will also face a 39% of tariff. You can see the wide gap. So right now, Indian goods are competitive in their market because there was only a 5% tariff. Now they will become costly by nearly 34%, right? Because 34% is the tariff gap. So 34% excess of tax has to be paid before it enters into the US market. So obviously the product is going to have a high price and it may not compete in the markets. Food products, agricultural products are a major industry of India. So India needs to worry about this particular issue. So, can we say that now we are going to face an economic slowdown? Is there a thing to worry immediately that, okay, we are going to have a big issue and economic slowdown? Actually, Indian Ratings and Research Agency has pointed out that yes, GDP will slow down by nearly 0.5% or 1% as to the estimated 6.6%, which is currently being targeted. Now, trade deficits, as I told you earlier, every year annually will be nearly $7 billion. So that is a trade deficit. It's a loss, complete loss. And in fact, nearly 130 billion dollars of trade is going to be impacted because of this reciprocal tariffs, which Donald Trump has decided to levy. So what can India do now to avoid the issue? Now, it's a big problem which India has definitely encountered, and it is closed because it's just 2nd April, and immediately it's going to start. So we need to understand whether India will be in a position to take the advantage of this situation and grow its trade in other formats. That means it's like a opportunity in disguise. So though it's a challenge, it is an opportunity disguised in the challenge. Can we say that? So it's like one door shut and there are 10 doors going to open. Will it be a situation like this? So let's understand that. So first thing is India should think of revision of tariffs, which actually it has already started doing, where they need to have a balanced viewpoint of tariffs on the US goods. So if USA is levying a tariff of very low amount, we should not have the levy of excessive tariffs. So since 2018, India definitely has been levying a lot of tariffs on the US goods. So this has in fact increased and increased, and in 2022 it was nearly 15.3% of gap in the tariff. So which is a huge gap, and why would any country tolerate this gap unnecessarily? So though there are trade pacts, though there are agreements between the countries, if tomorrow the country giving the benefit and the advantage to another country is itself suffering trade deficits and losses, which is happening in the case of USA, they also need to think of revising the way and the norm in which they are functioning. So to avoid US trade deficit, they have levied these reciprocal tariffs. But definitely, Indian economy is going to face the problems because of that. Then a second way of avoiding is basically strengthening regional trade, as in like we have the Asian region and the African region, even the European region too are you can say open for the products which we can sell. So India can also target these and strengthen the trade ties between the Asian countries, African countries, and even the European countries. In fact, there are many trade pacts also being signed between these countries, but they are still in progress. Then coming to the boosting of the Make in India. Now, Make in India is a concept which was definitely started. It was, though it is started, it is not actually picking up to the extent that it was expected. What is the main issue is that we don't have the smooth methodology of starting business in India. In fact, many industries have also closed business in India and gone to another countries like Vietnam, where they find it easy to set up business. Many countries like China, even other countries are offering beneficial approach to the trade and ease of doing business in their countries. Though the big words are used in India like ease of doing business, make in India, yet the words are not coming in action, because of which we are not finding the substantial increase or the rise expected in GDP, which is creating a problems in this concept of make in India. We don't have the resources, and though we have some resources, they are not up to the quality which is expected by the industries to start business in India. Then coming to the other things like making positive use of the US-China trade war. So if other countries are at trade war, we can make the environment of India such that people, other companies have a ground which is developed in India for starting their business. But as I told you, like starting business in India takes a lot of, they have to go through a lot of hurdles before they can actually start the business in India. So these hurdles should be reduced, and the faster they are reduced, the better it will be for the economy. If they still continue, we will definitely lose the market. We will lose the companies which will try and set up their operations in India. But if they do not get the boost, if they do not get the go through quickly, they might think of shifting to other countries, which should definitely be avoided. Otherwise, it will lead to a huge economic loss. And definitely ease of doing business, taxation wise, the compliance wise, if you see GST, income tax, still till date, in spite of it being started in 2017, GST is still not streamlined to the extent such that it will be easy. There are a lot of litigations which are there in the act. So clarity wise, you don't find the acts in terms of the taxation which are implemented in India. They're not clear enough for the companies to follow. Taxation rates are not friendly for starting business in India. Then you find infrastructure wise also we are not up to the mark. So many things to be put in place and very quickly, which means it's a difficult time for the government. Then comes finalizing free trade agreements with European unions and the United Kingdom. So we are already having such agreements, free trade agreements with these countries. So if at all these are finalized quickly and done well, then there will be a little bit boost, at least in terms of the products being sold out to the European unions and also to the United Kingdom. So let's see if these free trade agreements boost the trade of India. So in concluding lines, if you see the overall issues that are connected with the reciprocal tariffs, definitely India will face a setback because of the reciprocal tariffs. That's what I feel, because a lot of time is going to be required, time frame is required to overcome this loss. So this loss will definitely be there. A setback will definitely be there for some time at least. And if India doesn't take quick steps to recover this loss in different cases, like as I told you, by setting up new industries in India, by boosting trade with other countries and becoming less reliant on the US economy, if India doesn't do it, then definitely there will be issues which will prevail, and this will create a big, huge setback for our economy. So let's hope for the best, and let's see what happens ahead and what happens due to these reciprocal tariffs on the economy, on the GDP, and other impacts that we are going to face in terms of commerce. So hope this video gives a little bit idea about reciprocal tariffs to you. And if you like it, definitely please do share it with people who may find it useful. And if you haven't yet joined the journey of Commerce Gyan, do subscribe to this channel to have more updates on such interesting topics of commerce, of industry, of trade and law and other such things. So thank you and hope to see you in the next video.